If you enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like what you see on my channel and would like to support me on Patreon, click on the link below. Robot Monster, originally titled Monster from Mars, was a highly successful, independently made black and white science fiction film, originally released in 1953 in 3D. Robot Monster would be cited as one of the worst films ever produced. Unknown filmmaker Phil Tucker, who made his career directing 9 B-grade feature films, directed and produced Robot Monster. In 1952, before Tucker made his directorial debut with Robot Monster, he was apparently offered $300,000 to make a biopic about gangster Lucky Luciano, but turned it down. He would make Robot Monster in 1953 for the very low budget of $16,000. After the poor reception of Robot Monster, Phil Tucker was so distraught that he tried to commit suicide in a hotel in Los Angeles. His attempted suicide was apparently due to the film's distributor refusing to pay Tucker his percentage of the film's profits. He was saved, however, because he sent a suicide letter to a newspaper. A reporter and some detectives came to the hotel to investigate. In the suicide letter, Tucker stated he had not been paid for Robot Monster and was unable to get a job. Tucker said, "When I was refused a job, even as an usher, I finally realized my future in the film industry was bleak." Phil Tucker's career never really took off, but he stuck to directing mainly low-budget movies throughout the 50s. Tucker had also directed a film titled Space Jockey in 1953, but the film was never released, and there is no known copy in existence, and the film is now considered a lost film. He followed Robot Monster with the film Dance Hall Racket in 1953, which would star controversial stand-up comic Lenny Bruce, who also co-wrote the script. 1954 would be his busiest year, and he would direct 3 features. He took a long break of 5 years, and in 1960 he would direct The Cape Canaveral Monsters. By the 70s, he had become a successful film editor and contributed to a number of films, including Orca and the 1976 remake of King Kong. Wyatt Ordung, an unknown screenwriter, was hired to write the script for Robot Monster. Ordung was writer on a number of films, including Walk the Dark Street and First Man into Space in 1959. The actors cast in the film were impressive. Actor George Nader, who had appeared in a variety of films from 1950 through to 1974, with films like Sins of Jezebel in 1953, Congo Crossing in 1956, to The Female Animal in 1958. However, it would be his part of Roy in Robot Monster, which he would be mostly known for. In 1955, Nader won a Golden Globe, and even would be called the most promising male newcomer of the year. He would sign with Universal Studios, but only would appear in B pictures. Lead actress Claudia Barrett was cast as Alice, and had starred in many films and TV shows. Most notably, she would star alongside James Cagney in the classic Warner Brothers film White Heat in 1949. Due to the film's very low budget, it originally was too costly for a robot costume, but director Tucker would hire George Barrows to play the alien, and he would construct his very own gorilla suit to play Roman. George Barrows would appear in a number of films. He even was in a gorilla costume again in the film Gorilla at Large. His other roles were usually bit parts, and rarely was he credited for his work. Robot Monster is about an alien robot called Roman, whose mission on Earth is to destroy all of humanity. There are only 8 survivors who are left, who are immune to Roman's death ray. Roman's leader is the Great Guidance. Roman fails his mission after he falls in love with Alice. Robot Monster was made for very little and cost just $16,000. Producer Al Zimbalist would later tell the New York Times that shooting the film in 3D would involve using another camera, and would add an extra $4,510.54 to the budget. Robot Monster was shot in just 4 weeks. Most of the film was shot outdoors, except for some scenes at a house in a residential area in Los Angeles and a building site near Dodger Stadium. But most of the footage was filmed in the famous shooting location spot of Bronson Canyon, used in countless movies and TV shows. Most notably, it was used in Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 1956, and the Bronson Caves were used as the location of the Bat Cave in the Batman TV series. In the film's opening credits, N.A. Fisher Chemical Products is given prominent credit for the billion bubble machine, used as part of Roman's communication device for reporting to his superior, the Great Guidance. Robot Monster's special effects would also include stock footage from various films, including 1 Million BC, Lost Continent, and Flight to Mars in 1951. There is also a small appearance of the rocket ship XM spaceship in one scene. There were also matte shots of post-apocalyptic ruins in New York City from the film 3000 AD from 1952. These matte paintings were created by legendary art director Irving Bloch, known for his amazing matte paintings in the film Forbidden Planet in 1956. Principal photography on Robot Monster wrapped on March the 23rd, 1953. Legendary film composer Elmer Bernstein, who composed for films like The Great Escape and The Ten Commandments. Bernstein would recall a period at this time when he was grey-listed, mainly due to his left-wing political views, and only offered minor films to score. He was happy to score Robot Monster. Robot Monster was produced by 3 Dimension Pictures and released by Astor Pictures on June the 24th of 1953. The film would have a runtime of just 62 minutes. Reviews for Robot Monster were disappointing. A critic from Variety wrote, "Scripting and majority of performances rarely rise to a professional level. Of the principals, the less said, the better." But Variety also would say, Robot Monster comes off surprisingly well, considering the extremely limited budget and schedule on which the film was shot. After the negative response of the film, its title was changed to Monster from Mars. The film would gross $1 million, which when you think about it, considering the film's budget of $16,000, that's quite a profit. 62 times its original investment. So the film really wasn't such a failure. And being released in 3D, which at the time was a very popular format, would draw more of an audience to the film. Regardless of the film's obvious criticisms, one thing that works is what the film achieved technically. Robot Monster is an iconic film, and it has been paid tribute to many times in popular culture. The alien Roman can also be seen in the 2003 film Looney Tunes, Back in Action. Robot Monster is worth a watch and can be seen as a guilty pleasure movie experience. My name's Jonathan. Thanks for watching.